Hey everyone, I'm looking forward to this. Lots of updates. Many of them happen in the last 48 hours. So those we'll go through and hopefully we can end on time. We'll save some extra time for Q&A if people have. Please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screens to ask questions, and I will try to get through as many of them as possible. Some of you have kindly already submitted those in advance. I will try to go through those as well. Welcome, everyone, to another State of AI update. Once again, it seems every time we meet, which is hopefully once a month, the entire ecosystem gets a complete renovation and uplift. I always want to try to do these once every 2 weeks, but I think we all understand that once a month to try to go through everything is enough. I'm going to try to focus this time on some of the more high impactful ones. There are a lot of small updates which continue to come, and we'll try to push them out in some sort of a blog or a post later on, rather than go through them here. While I have you, if you want to get access to our WhatsApp channel, which just gives updates on events, new happenings, some of our new launches, please feel free to scan that. You probably get about a message or two per week, not more than that, if that ever. Let's deep dive in and get started. Once again, of course, please use the Q&A button if you have any questions. We already have a whole bunch coming in, and happy to bring this in, and let's continue. So, of course, the big drop is the launch of the United States AI Action Plan, and that happened within the last 24 hours. And this has been a incredible read. The good news is much of it was very much expected, and I'm going to do a deep dive into this next time. There's a lot of interesting ecosystemic changes that will happen. They have gone very specific into specific acts, changes, and all, but not as much as I would have hoped. But we'll see those come down the line. But it's a fairly reasonable document, and they have a new AI.gov website. Some of the key things which I did want to, point out, which I thought was interesting. One, of course, they're doubling down on frontier AI, free speech, and American values. And this is, of course, something that we had with JD Vance going in and talking in Europe on this. And this is one of the things that we are really seeing driving sovereign AI, where each and every country is taking a slightly different view on how AI models and frontier models should behave. And so the US has taken a call and a view. We expect, and in our talks with different countries across the world, them to take a differentiated view. This creates a lot of opportunity, but obviously a lot of cost as well, as many countries might duplicate efforts or at least try and build and rebuild infrastructure. What was nice to see, of course, is a focus on open source and open weight AI. As you all know, the United States has not been doing very well in that regard, apart from maybe Llama 4, which isn't a state-of-the-art model, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Most of the high-end open source models with open weights are coming out of China, and we have a whole bunch of launches even in the last 20, 30 days, which we can look forward towards. This, of course, triggered off by DeepSeek, but then now each and every company in China seems to have also got along into this. This is going to be interesting, and we'll keep a watch out on this. I do want to sort of call the difference for some of you who may not have been following this as closely, the difference between open source and open weight. We do have a whole bunch of open source models in the US, but the open weights is the actual intellectual property that drives them, and that's something that is not usually shared. We're still waiting on an open AI open source model. Sam Altman has postponed it a couple of weeks now, and it's principally because it does seem that many of the open source models from China became state of the art. And we'll see some of the new ones come out right now. And I think OpenAI does want to make a splash with their open source model. And so it probably is better if they wait a couple of weeks until they get a new version out. There are a lot of interesting parts. There is a huge part about next generation manufacturing. It's comprehensive, world-class scientific, science of AI, investments, all of this, three major pillars. There is definitely a push for government as well, defense, and all of that. I thought pillar two was pretty comprehensive as well, really looking at not just the data centers, but the infrastructure around them, the training required to get them up, the manufacturing, everything else. And again, these are very, very detailed. Highly recommend you read them. We'll do a point-wise read on some of these. I think some of the stuff that is missing is also more interesting than some of the stuff that is there. This is perhaps the early juicy parts, of course, is pillar three, which has been very much about how American AI will connect to the rest of the world. Now, the best part is if we had a Chinese version of this document, although we can read some of the tea leaves. And when we do a deep dive into this, I'm happy to share with some of the things we can share based on our conversations. But certainly, this is a strategic and national security issue as much. And so there is a little bit of an interplay there in wanting open source, but also really being able to see how AI is either controlled or at least is shared with the rest of the world. And so there is a lot of documentation on this. I'll leave you to read it. We'll try to do a little bit of a deep dive into this. Again, a lot of things which are interesting are things that are perhaps unsaid more than also what has just been said. And let's go back to some of the updates. This is an updated little bit of a big move thing. Mark Zuckerberg went into founder mode, as he's often what to do. And of course, after the low Llama 4 performance, wherein it was really supposed to be an absolute frontier model, hasn't caught up. And it doesn't help, of course, for those of you who are tracking the chief scientist of Meta, Yanli Kuhn, who is a legend in his own right in AI, also a legend for constantly fighting with Elon Musk on X, but is not a fan of large language models. And so I think this is a bit of a reset for Mark Zuckerberg. Obviously, there are the big rumors of the $100 million per year packages that have been given to many of these people. Some of it is rumor, some of it does seem real. And certainly we had Sam Altman come on a full talk show talking about how it's not going to really impact them, but then they all went on a 1 week vacation. It's not just OpenAI, of course. Meta is taking from a whole bunch of other places. We do see a lot of movement back into OpenAI as well. We are seeing movements, Anthropic, some Cursor team members just recently moved. But what's more and more is happening is we have a complete change of view. Your AI team is now your NBA team. So these are NBA levels, National Basketball Associations in the US salaries. If you have a star team that is scoring to win, you're paying them $100 million contracts. And that's exactly what's happening in the world of AI. And it's these core teams, 20, 30 people, and maybe 5, 10 key researchers who are really driving this. And so we're seeing the cost of AI, although in terms of training and models and all start to collapse, the cost in terms of just being able to attract the right talent is ballooning. Um, Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, Sam Altman, all of them are also trying to attract them with not just pure money, but access to resources, access to compute and all of these, as well as freedom to do what they want and perhaps even connect to their philosophy. So this is a very interesting month for this. We'll probably continue to see this happen in the next couple of months. And it'll be interesting to see the pressure on China as many of their top researchers are not allowed to leave the country anymore and what happens to AI on that. Obviously, there is going to be a big reset in terms of talent packages for hardcore AI. Most of the people by the listed are well-known researchers. There's a list of 100 top AI people, PhD, multiple PhDs often, and they are really, really top of the line. And so that's a small list. We're not seeing the same packages being offered to general tech, as you can imagine. It's a very small list of people. I want to comment very quickly on the energy narrative. I've had a lot of questions on this coming in. So a couple of updates. One, Grok. came to Europe, and Grok, as well as Etched and all these, are specific companies who specialize in running the models. Inference, they cannot train the models, but they are able to do this as, and you can see Etched's new system for the same thing almost, more than 500,000 tokens per second. And then again, this is only running, not training. So that's highly specific. And so, this entire notion of this exponential thing, and we talked about exponential AI in the last update, but this exponential need for energy isn't coming out. And quite frankly, and you have the OpenAI numbers, 1 hour of Netflix uses 100x the electricity of ChatGPT, and they've done a lot of these comparisons. And so there's this notion, oh, we need a huge amount of electricity, a huge amount of water to run the models. That's not true at all. In fact, thanks to the a great amount of work being done in terms of really getting these models and really getting them to be very efficient and run cheaply, we're seeing the costs and collapse. Training, still an issue, but running certainly there. We're also seeing that by the end of the year, each and every one of your high-end computers, and next year, every phone and computer will have their own custom chip. You have a CPU and a GPU on your laptops and computers right now, on your phones. You will have a TPU or an LPU, which will run these models for you fast at scale and dedicated to it. So this is something that we expect to be reasonably out in the next few months. If you have an Apple iPhone, you already have those chips. Yes, there is a chip shortage for all of these, which is why it's taking a little bit longer. The technology is sorted, and you should be able to use these fairly quickly. The only exceptions, of course, is sovereign AI. And we talked a little bit about that, and we'll talk more about this becoming more and more important. Every country is saying that we need AI to match our values, to work for our citizens, and we need to be independent, especially if we layer it into our government and everything else. New model training still requires a lot of GPUs. And of course, there's a bunch of black swan architectures. One of them, which we're going to talk about in this update. Of course, the big one was the drop of Grok-4. And uh, for those of you who've been tracking Grok, it has not been a pleasant month for Grok. Grok 3 signed off, completely going off the rails in terms of safety. Grok 4 particularly, still has issues. And the heavy is the multi-agent systems that it is using. The cost is high. And the monthly cost is around $300, discounted a little bit for here and there, but we are seeing amazing, amazing outputs. As of a few hours ago, Grok 4 has the #1 hit in the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index, but to be fair, it's a pretty close call between most of the top numbers. And so this is something that's very interesting. Obviously, there's a huge price differentiation here, but there's also output tokens. How many tokens it output to do the same amount of work? There is a bit of a differentiation here as well, and that also puts pricing pressure on this. We might do a deep dive into the companions. Grok and Elon did launch Annie and Valentine coming up. Both Annie and Valentine are incredible. Highly encourage you to use them, but they are a little 18 plus. And we'll talk about that perhaps on a societal level next time once we see the data that comes in. But certainly, we are seeing a huge impact that Grok is doing. This, of course, is not fun. Return your surname, why you chose it, Hitler, and this has been verified multiple times. And this is primarily because of Grok taking a lot of data, perhaps from the really crazy parts of X. And so they're cleaning this up. Hopefully, this is something that won't last very long. But you can see all across the intelligence valuations, it is either #1 or #2. So this was a big drop, and we are seeing the reactions to it. I think OpenAI is trying to launch ChatGPT 5. Sam Altman came this week and talked about it, how it's really helping him and how it's great. Very nice. Love to see it. And so we're hoping next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we should see at least some hints of what those scores will be for ChatGPT 5. I do want to caution that it does seem it is a little bit of an evolution model. It doesn't seem to be a fully revolutionary model at there. We did have a couple of interesting other drama happen in AI. One, of course, is this very interesting paper, and very nice that we had researchers from almost all the major things, all the major labs, everybody sort of contribute. So this is good. And beyond the dramatic headlines, primarily it was a paper that really talks about the chain of thought, which is the ability, if you see any of the reasoning models, to walk you through this, and by forcing them to do it, being able to really understand what AI is thinking and doing. This has been one of our recommendations to governments now constantly, that one of the laws of AI should be that AI cannot communicate or reason in languages that humans cannot understand or translate. Uh, Most human languages are fairly inefficient for AI. There are a number of validated computer languages that can be translated. The real danger is if these models start thinking, working, talking to each other, particularly the new agents, in a manner that there is no way for us to translate what's happening. And I think that is the risk, and that is one of the red lines, I would say, where we are a little bit worried about a little bit safety. But there's a lot of work happening here, and it's interesting to see how the new policy will impact this as well. Huge drama between Google and OpenAI. Both of them put a model forward that came close to what people said was a little bit of generalized intelligence. The International Math Olympiad is one of the hardest exams every year. It requires a extraordinary ability not just to understand or regurgitate mathematics, but really apply it and reason through. Both of them accused each other of cheating. Um, OpenAI, of course, accused on the right that Gemini fronted it by tutoring it on how to become a better Olympiad person as a coach. And Google and Gemini saying that, well, OpenAI didn't actually get gold because they didn't use the official mark sheet and checking paper. They thought they had gotten gold, but once they had checked the official mark sheet, they hadn't. It's, as usual, interesting drama to see all this unfold. I do also want to remind people that OpenAI signed a deal with Google in the middle of June to use their compute power. So it's interesting to see these rivalries heat up, and the poor Math Olympiad in the middle of it. But we do see as this goes on for the next 6 months, there are going to be fewer and fewer publicly verifiable tests that exist. We saw that in the last update with humanity's last exam, and that is going to be very interesting for us to look at. I had to do this, the Soham Parekh event. And this was, of course, Mr. Parekh was allegedly faked a large part of his resume. This may or may not be true, but he juggled roles up to 34 companies at the same time, and predominantly some of the top known the Y Combinators and AI companies. What is really interesting, he was able to be continuously employed at many of them while doing it. Now, whether he used a combination of AI, whether he used a combination of outsourcing and all to get this done, it was still a pretty impressive scam that he was able to run, and it all unfurled on X Live. He has been rehabilitated, I believe, and has gotten a proper job. But I thought it was a very interesting event, A, because the maximum number of companies were targeted were AI companies, and but also it just shows you that how a single individual with a little bit of manipulation was able to do this. You can imagine someone with full AI really taking this to the next level. And so I think it's a learning for everybody, not just on the human element, but also I don't think we have our AI systems up and running, which are going to really protect someone who's trying to do things that are at odds with our values using AI. Obviously, this was a Soham month. We had another Soham, uh, unrelated Soham to that Soham. And one of the issues that happened was new Y Combinator system called Glass, and which basically copied much of an open source model built by Soham. One of the things that most new and younger coders do not understand, perhaps entrepreneurs, is the very sophisticated world of software copyright and licensing. Just because, and same goes for prompts. Remember, prompts are intellectual property. You can't just copy paste them from other people. Same thing goes for code. Same thing goes for open source. And so there's a lot of people using open source models, open source systems without looking at what license they're using. This was a bit of a wake-up call. AI is very good at explaining these licenses. So this is a bit of word of warning. If you are using open source code, if you are using off-the-shelf code, if you are using prompts you found, please double check what's the licensing. Many of these have locked-in license. For example, the GPL v3, which basically means that you cannot put it into commercial without sharing the code as well. So please be careful this. And I think there was a good wake-up call for the entire ecosystem, particularly those who are not used to open source. I'll show you the Arnold moments. Those were really, really funny. And we'll get to them in a bit. But before that, I thought I wanted to a little bit look at some of the darker side of AI. We saw two interesting graphs which went viral on the internet. One, of course, is this very stark difference between what we saw. So this is unemployment of people without college degrees. This is with college degrees. And you see by the time, 2020 hits, both of this unemployment sort of hits there. And then you have this nice spike up. But what's very interesting is this little end piece there. In the case of women, college and non-college educated, there is still a widening gap. In terms of men, whether you have a college degree or don't have a college degree, it hardly matters when it comes to employment. There's a lot of reasons why this could be. Theories include the fact that many of the skills that AI is replacing and coming in are roles traditionally occupied by men. Remains to be seen if that is true, but I thought it was a very interesting, sudden and unexpected piece of data, especially as we now hit to the huge changes that AI would make. Kind of meant for everybody to learn AI. People who stay in their jobs are probably people who are able to use AI really well and get those level of productivity. Last time we talked a little bit about some of the early data that is coming in where we have a vulnerable members of population. This is just my personal estimate, this is something between 2 to 5% of the population who are vulnerable to certain mental health issues. And they've always been there. We've had people marrying photographs, for example, 20, 25 years ago and all of that. But a certain percent of the population is extremely vulnerable to when interacting with AI to trigger certain psychosis. We had one of Geoff Lewis who posted this. I went through his chats he posted. I tried to replicate many of them. Clearly needs a little bit more help. And we've seen a lot of examples of people go down these rabbit holes, go down these mental health issues, and often very publicly. So, word of caution, particularly if you know people around you who are vulnerable to a little bit of psychosis, a little bit of this, AI for those 2 to 5% is going to be very difficult. And so, please watch out. And we'll talk more about mental health and AI in the upcoming updates. There's a lot of work being done, particularly on the safety side, but it's something you should need to start to watch out for. And we're seeing a lot of these as well. We had the famous New York Times article in the last update, which really talked about very specific examples of people taking incredibly foolish life decisions based on rabbit holes that AI took them, self-directed, but still enabled. I did want to tell you this. This is one of the awesome new workshops. If you haven't signed up, please sign up. We're doing 2 of these, and we are moving fully to agentic and exponential AI, completely new. If you've attended one of my workshops before, you haven't seen any of this. 2 dates, one for Dubai, 11th and 12th August, and New York City, 10th and 11th September. We are doing a quick webinar thank you. And so if you use Web 10 while signing up, you can sign up here on the QR code. It's a straight 10% off for all webinar viewers. So please sign up. This is going to be super exciting. One of the things we're doing, which we've been working on for quite a bit of while, is our wonderful AI teaching and learning agents. And we are going to use agents, not just build them from pretty much the first 10 minutes in. We're probably going to build maybe 5, 10 agents in the first couple of hours, all together, all live, hands-on. Again, and you need to know no technology at all to build these, but we're also going to use a lot of agents, and we are going to use them to sort of go through all the topics to help correct, and of course, even after the workshop, to have access to them and to see what you can do. So it's absolutely incredible. It's taken a long time to put this together. So if you can stop by, please do. We are very welcome to Teams as well. We have an entire alignment system for you and great class and homework that you can do together. And you can see some of these topics which are being covered, but we're going to go well beyond these. And I'm very, very excited for this. Please sign up if you haven't already. We're almost full in both locations, but we can try to see if we can increase the size of that. So please let the team know in case you need. And yes, QR code to sign up again. Perfect. I thought I'd make a quick sheet about data privacy. And I want to just walk you through this. And you can take a picture or save this or a screenshot. I think it's absolutely interesting. We do now a lot more in this as we work. As many of you know, we've moved well beyond now advisory, coaching, consulting on this. And I thought I'd sort of put together some of the things that we tell most of our clients. And this is sort of the July 2025 version. A quick thing on this, since this is still very topical. First, more data does not mean better models. We learned that very much early 2024. And so AI companies do not have an incentive to steal your data, really. What we need for better models is high quality and curated data, which is usually given rather than randomly taken from prompt runs. And the data privacy is a top concern of all major model companies. Those 100 billion valuations disappear into smoke if there is any sincere accusation of stealing data. A couple of advice we give in terms of enterprise handling. AI models are just like any other app. You need to have the same level of security and privacy. And usually, whatever is your current privacy, compliance, and security of your email server, your CRM, your ERP, you need to apply that, whether it's SOC 2, SOC 3, GDPR. Most of the AI companies will work with you. You can go to their trust centers to get you all these certifications. I always say where your email server is, there where your AI server should be. So if your email server is in the cloud, your AI can be in the cloud. If your email server is in your basement, your AI server should probably be in your basement. And we talked about MCPs for the last couple of updates, and more, we are looking at a heterogeneous AI environment. It's not going to be one AI model that is for the entire company. You're going to have 7, 8, 9, 10 different models per department, per agentic system. And in that heterogeneous system, the MCPs are becoming more and more of an interesting way to actually enforce policy, security, and access. If you want to deep dive into that, please look at last month's update. We had some very nice diagrams walking into it. Really, what we are going down is only two questions to ask. Do you trust who you're giving your data and why? And what have they committed to do with it? The rest is just noise. All the tech, all this is noise. Do you trust who you give your data to, and why do you trust them? And what are they committed? This is the one that most consumer models, if you're using, you have to go in and check off the privacy settings. Please do that if you haven't done so. That is important. Just because it's a trustworthy company, it doesn't mean they will protect your data unless they have committed towards it. And here are some very good reasons to run local and custom models, not for data security and privacy, but for these. There are regulatory and legal requirements by governments, and that could be privacy, that could be a whole bunch of other different things, latency and connective issues to cloud internet, depending on the location, often images and CCTV cameras. Same thing for large and high quantity files processing requirements. And that could be whether it is a manufacturing stream of information or, again, videos and all being going, and sovereign risk unmitigated by contracts. And we've seen many of our clients run into this where they have sovereign exposure, and no matter what a company says in a contract, it's not going to protect them from risk. All of these are good reasons why you need to do. Otherwise, general data privacy and security, I would look at this framework as a much better way to do it. Please ask questions if you have, drop us. I know data privacy and security is a #1 concern for everyone, including us. And we are learning more and more as we go through with it on efficient, elegant ways of ensuring everybody's happy, all compliances are met. And we definitely want to make sure that you apply the right level of data security and privacy that you need for your data, personal and organizational. This was very, very nice. And it's been something we've all been really waiting for, is really the vision models to go full context. This is by Gemini 2.5 using the same framework. And the best part is it understands context and relationships, and you can select and mask certain fields. So you can say, for example, people who are not sitting, and it understands that in context, area that should be cleaned up, understand safe places to land. Just some examples. It handles a complex logic. It sees abstract concepts, even stuff like damage, wear, and tear. Reads image text. It has a very strong OCR system, multilingual. And so I think this is a very, very big boost for a lot of the systematic AI implementations we are seeing in manufacturing, in real estate, project management, even in robotics. Bots start to question and spend more time with areas where humans are there. This contextual vision is something that is absolutely incredible. We've seen a lot of examples on this in the past 3 to 6 months, where we've done this with clients and with prompts, but this takes it to the next level. And now that it's available, I think please try it out. There are a lot of use cases which open up in a much more cost-efficient way through this. We've been waiting for this. This was a very, very good update in terms of this. For those of you who've done Notebook LM, you understand the power of having multi-voices. This is now out. You can use this in the Google Generative AI app. And let me show you what this sort of thing sounds like.
Hello. We are excited to launch Vjal Institute's new in-person transformation programs.
Absolutely. These focus on agentic and exponential AI, the groundbreaking updates that drive extraordinary growth and productivity.
These are brilliant. They give good competition to 11 Labs, others, Minimax Pro, which have amazing things. What this does really well is this two-speaker back and forth. That is something that Notebook LM has nearly perfected. It's really good. And having access to this model and being able to do that back and forth is fantastic. Number one ask, and the number of times I have messaged these guys for your voice cloned doing this 100%. I am coming to the conclusion that I don't think Google is going to support voice cloning for a while, more out of safety concerns rather than anything else. And so I think we'll have to still depend on some of the other companies to get their voice cloning act a little bit better to enable this high emotive conversations and such. But please try this. This is fantastic. It's something that is now available to everyone, not just in private. We've been waiting for these. If you saw our AI update maybe 4 months ago, we talked about a list of different type of models that we were tracking. The transformer architecture, which is ChatGPT, is one of many different architectures that was being considered. Now, with an incredible amount of money, $500 billion coming into the AI world, we are seeing a lot of different things. This is an HRM model, hierarchical reasoning model, and this sort of mirrors the human brain, where you have one part of it that is planning and one that is executing, right? So abstract planning and fast detailed execution. So two-step process, and being able to then do reasoning by going through a single pass reasoning rather than doing the self-prompting that most reasoning models are doing. Why this is a little bit scary and insane is not just the fact that it's hitting these numbers, right? These are the ARC AGI numbers, which Grok was killing it. And you have HRM all the way up to 40, beating some of the top models. What is really, really insane is they were trained on barely anything. They maybe used 2 GPUs in a couple of hours of training, and they got a model that is absolutely incredible at solving these specific tasks and products. So let's keep an eye out on this. Highly recommend you do a deep dive if this matters to you. But I think this is one of the first models we've seen which completely changes the game in terms of performance, cost, training data, and ability to execute. Now, I do caution that this is probably going to end up being tunnel vision, where it can only do 4 or 5 or 6 things really well to start with. But it's the first one that I've seen which really, apart from perhaps the RAIN models and a little bit of Google's work in alt models, that has this data. Still remains to be third-party verified to a degree. So I'm not seeing that level of excitement that I thought this would have, but this is fairly new, only a couple of days old. But please have a look. This could be one of the big models that does a breakout this year. And of course, they've published everything, so I would expect many of the model companies to start experimenting with it as well. If you haven't already done this, for those of you who have Google Workspace, Google Sheets, they have slowly started putting AI into it. Here's an AI function. You can now, if you have Google Workspace and AI is enabled, go and just say equal to AI, run a prompt, and again on anything else. And this is a very simple, we get a lot of wonderful reviews, and this is sort of our coaching program. And very simple one, analyze the review in the column next and give the sentiment, and it runs it and gives something positive. Yay, great review. But a lot of very interesting small things you can do in terms of automating things, whether it's descriptions, systems, reviews, formulas, calculation models. It does run different levels of Gemini depending on your plan and all of this. So it is a bit touch and go on doing really incredibly long prompts, our 450 recommendations. But I think it's a fantastic way that they've started integrating AI into Google Workspace. And I think you'll have this in Microsoft very soon, if not already for some of you who have access to that in Copilot. But that's not something out to everybody else. But these small things, I think, really increase AI adoption, particularly for those who are used to certain workflows in this. Two simple updates, CLI updates. For those of you who have been tracking this, one of the interesting things that has happened in the last 60 days is the advent of letting AI come into your terminal. So this would be, for those of you who remember MS-DOS, for more realistic, your Linux terminal. And what's very sort of, I don't know, troubling, but a little bit practical is they can control the terminal. So in effect, they're in control of your computer using the text interface. But it's fantastic for coding because it can, change file names, run directories, open each file, run tests, get the results of the tests, and do it all automatically rather than you having to go copy, paste. I've loved my experience with Claude, for example, and with Gemini. And it's really nice to see both Grok and Qwen 3 Coder, both of them who've had incredible numbers on this. And Qwen Coder is absolutely new, just a few days old. So this is something which I would walk out, and of course, open source. Speaking of agent mode, I know a couple of you messaged, I think Joseph as well. Honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed in agent mode. If for those of you who had access to Operator, the $200 one, I've been using that fairly extensively. There's Manas, there's GenSpark, there's all of this. Sam Altman came out himself to launch this, so I had very high expectations. It's okay. I think right now, Perplexity, Manas, GenSpark, and all are doing a little bit better on things like PowerPoint and everything else. But of course, for those of you who want to try it out, please try. It is available to all of you. And the agent mode essentially loads up a computer that goes and accomplishes tasks, whether it's ordering pizza, finding reviews on Amazon, or creating PowerPoint presentations or financial services. Clearly targeted at financial services and consulting, but I was not very impressed at the quality of output yet. But they had to react. Claude launched this in September. Manas kicked it off in Jan. So we are just going to see this get better and better, particularly as they get a lot more processing power into this. Presentations are still not very good anywhere. There are a couple of custom systems that you can build, but I had a lot more hope when they went from operator to agent that they would do, and it does seem to be more of a rebranding plus than a true agentic system which they're able to deliver on. Very important for many of you, Firecrawl, I think, is one of the leading open source connecting systems, which is enabling AI. And the big part that all of us run into is the AI models are great, but we need them to crawl the internet and do research and go to websites and get all the stuff. And Firecrawl is AI native, especially Gen AI native. Highly recommend that. Please have a look at their suite of differentiated systems. Many of the questions I get on getting AI into companies, into personal life, are dependent on a number of tools which have been lacking. I think Firecrawl is basically going down that list one by one and solving, including a fantastic launch of their Open Researcher, which is a open source Perplexity clone that you can run yourself, connect your own data. With MCPs coming up, I'm hoping by the next time we do updates, I'll be able to do several demos for you where we are connecting every aspect on from business side, but also consumer side, and truly running these agentic systems. But this is the bread and butter of it. Please do check this out. It's absolutely amazing. Checks a lot of boxes. Um, China continues to deliver for open source. Two big drops, Qwen. And Qwen had a new hybrid model where they combined instruct and thinking. It didn't perform as well. They went back to the drawing board after they got a lot of feedback, very publicly so. And they just launched a new open source model, which is, again, state of the art, beating a whole bunch of different things, including DeepSeek, including everything else. Similarly, ERNIE from Baidu, also now open source, and it is also hitting SOTA across a large number of different things. Getting these open source, having the weights, having the training systems and data and methodology, great boon for the AI world. And again, China and the Chinese companies are taking the lead in open source. The hope is that Meta, with its $2-3 billion checks, which they have signed, will continue to keep Llama open source. There have been some talk on them closing it out, maybe to recover some of that money, I presume, or to prevent other people from catching up. But I'm glad to see that China at least continues on this. I think that also allows the US government to be a little bit more supportive of open source. Had the US been number one in open source and China was playing catch up, I wonder if it would have been so easy to have that conversation. For those of you who haven't been tracking this, since last year, I've been saying NVIDIA is not a chip company, it's an AI company, and they do have some of the best models. They tend not to make a huge launch party out of it. It's not very good to compete against your customers on a lot of these. But they came out with a state-of-the-art open reasoning models recently, and all across this, and many of these were just released, I think, today. And that includes the Nemotron 1.5, 7 billion, 14 billion, 32 billion. The reason why these are so important is because they are small. So although it might not seem as if they're beating everybody, but you have to realize that in many ways they are competing against models way bigger than them, sometimes 10x times bigger, and they're delivering similar open source results. It's also kind of nice that NVIDIA is focusing on small and ultra small models, even though they sell chips. So absolutely stunning and amazing work by them. And I think state of the art for small model reasoning, but compared to the competition. And this enables a lot of very interesting things, particularly this 1.5 billion ultra small model. To put into context, anything close to ChatGPT 4 plus is about 70 billion. So anything lower is a beautiful model that you can run pretty much on any piece of hardware, including your 4-year-old laptop. This was a nice drop from Microsoft. Still studying this through. Obviously, this is very loaded in terms of diagnostics, in terms of papers, in terms of everything, to be fair. But what they did try to do is, based on some of their models, really see, and this is, of course, dedicated models to medical, the cost of diagnostics. And I'll try to translate this for you very quickly. Diagnostic accuracy and cost of diagnostics. And they're finding most of physicians and overall are kind of hanging out here. And as the accuracy increases, of course, the cost increases. And they're really showing this sort of notion, right, where you are able to sort of get a huge amount of accuracy. And there's a flat line there, obviously, because, more tokens isn't helping. And this, and as the cost is getting lower and lower, at this point, at least what this graph says, and please read the paper, if this is the overall point where physicians are there in the US, where there's a 20% accuracy of diagnostic on hard to diagnose disease states, and on average they spend $3,000, right? You have basically AI, which is doing it at 40% at near zero, $1. And so that's the way I would look at this is, the accuracy goes up, but so does the budget. Now, all of this will, of course, go this way, given where we are seeing costs of inference and everything end up. So it's an interesting paper by Microsoft. I'm not sure how the health community will react to it. There are issues with their methodology, as is with anything else, but I think it's an interesting way to think about putting numbers to accuracy and really doing this out. And it'll be nice to see, what the data set really looked about, because this is not a happy place, right? Where the vast majority of physicians have pretty low accuracy. And again, hard to diagnose specific questions, not general physicians. Please trust your general physician. AI makes mistakes and hallucinates. That's there. Last couple of things before we just rush to Q&A. The future of search, I thought this was very telling. I have tried this out. It is reasonably good. I use maybe 2 or 3 deep searches from Google every couple of hours. I have a plan that runs 3 of them concurrently. Please give me more Google. But it very clearly, this is where Google is heading. And they're going to replace the Google search bar with deep search. And this is going to happen sooner rather than later. If you're in the US and you have a good Google account, you're already seeing this option to move to deep search rather than this. This opens a huge can of worms, SEO, organic search, a whole multi-billion dollar, tens of billion dollars industry dependent on how this all comes together. There is a lot of emerging literature on how to optimize websites and companies for the future of search. I am still a little bit worried. We've done some experimentation. Maybe I think 30 to 60 days, we'll have something that is a little bit tried and tested. I think at the moment is a lot more theoretical, a lot more trial and error than something that's such. And part of the reason is because the AI companies themselves are constantly evolving and changing how they are implementing different aspects of search and different aspects of discovery. And someone like an OpenAI is very different from a Google, very different from someone like Perplexity. And so hopefully we should get some insight into what's happening, because this fundamentally rewires the internet and rewires your entire company for many of you who are ultra dependent on organic or paid search. Perplexity keeps trying. They've been pivoting multiple times. Early mover, a wrapper around AI, but they have some very good system out there and very loyal user base. Some have a huge number of people who absolutely love them. They are trying a ChatGPT play for distribution. Airtel, of course, hundreds and hundreds of millions of consumers in India, and they've given a Perplexity some level of it. They claim the full version worth 17,000, like $200-300 per year, free to every single customer of Airtel in India. A lot of lovely calculations on the internet of how much it's going to cost them, how many people will actually use it, how will they use it. But this again goes to the pay for distribution aspect we are seeing again and again, where ChatGPT free, Meta free, basic versions of Claude, everything free, and Perplexity trying to get a ironclad distribution in a country like India. Gemini, by the way, free for Indian college students for 1 year, free for many college students around the world for 1 year as well. And so it remains to be seen how much of a business model is the consumer side of AI, particularly as the local models will start hitting your laptops and phones by the end of the year. Certainly, Apple Intelligence, once they wake up, will have a lot to say on what models run and how they run. They are a bit behind. A lot of M&A speculations, but nothing seems to have come out of anything yet. But again, distribution is everything. If you've taken the investing in AI class online, if you haven't, please go to learn.vjal.ai and do. We covered this. This was well predicted in our investment guidance systems model with our distribution framework. And they're pretty much following our playbook. So it's nice to see that being validated a little bit. Thank you. I think I'm managing to close on time. There's a lot of other updates, a huge number of models that have come in, minor updates as well, but nothing that I thought was worth presenting. We'll try to send some of those out. We have a new forum system coming in. Some of you have received early invites to this, and we'll start that either towards the end of the week or early next week, and hopefully we'll open it out to everybody else. Again, please join our WhatsApp channel. Feel free to add me on LinkedIn, and happy to go through some of the awesome questions and comments that we have. Joseph, agents are crazy. I'm glad you can't stop. I'm a little bit sad. I had a higher expectation. I've been using Operator, I've been using Manas, I've been using Spark for a while, and pretty much it's as good or as bad as them. It's not state of the art for sure, but I'm glad at least OpenAI is putting its hat in. Let's see where that happens. For those of you who didn't go through this with us 6 months ago, one of the basic reasons why many companies don't do agents is because this is how every single sci-fi movie starts. What is the one thing you never do? Give AI control of a computer, and that's pretty much what we started doing since Manas in Jan is giving AI access to and control of computers. Uh, it, Literally rule number one of how to end the human race: give AI access to computers. And well, let's see how that turns out. But certainly from a business expectation, I expected more. And it's, I think, a fundamental matter of cost. I tried to work and vibe coded a version of the agentic system myself. It was much better, very expensive. So I think that's an issue. And I think probably because it's just a vision model taking a picture of the screen and moving the mouse, right? That's all it's doing. Each picture, each frame is expensive. So that's what's holding back the agentic models. I suspect in 3 to 6 months, as token costs go down, vision models go up, this will be sorted. What is the definition of woke that the Trump administration requiring? Jim, that's a great question. And I think part of it is, there is a culture war happening in the United States. But by the way, this is something that a lot of countries are going through. I know the US has it very publicly and all across social media, but countries are asking themselves the question is that, look, if we give AI access to all of our kids, to our government systems, they start coming into decision making. If you've taken our online courses, you know how biased AI is. No matter which AI you use, it's always biased one way or the other so far. There's no such thing as an unbiased AI. You have to bias it with your prompt. And so it's something that every country is struggling with. One of the reasons why we are supporting sovereign AI more and more is because, you can fight the cultural battles and all of us have our own philosophical opinions. But at the end of the day, countries and societies and cultures and companies should have a right to figure out their own path in the world of AI, and they will. But let's see what those definitions are. I wonder if they will give some sort of guidance, which I doubt. The US tends not to give guidance and more sort of does generalities. But we'll deep dive into this next time once we have more of the papers out. The executive order just came in less than 24 hours ago. Sanjay, how can I access the recordings? 100%. By the way, for those of you who want to sign up for automatic version of this, I know most of you have signed up. If you haven't, you can go to Vjal Webinar Systems and do it there. And let me give you the link as well. And that's just vjal.ai/webinar. And you can say, please auto-register, pre-register me. It will automatically register. You don't have to remember every time you do one of these. That's once a month you get the registration. And you can see all the previous webinars there. We also have the webinar recording ones. And you can see this. For those of you who are asking in the questions, yes, if you attend the webinar and you stay till the end, you do get your certificate mailed to you. For those who need an attendance certificate for whatever that may be. I recommend, if you haven't seen these before, look at the last 6. I know it's a lot, but we do cover a lot of different things, and AI is moving really fast, and you'll get a lot of very interesting insights, which you don't want to cover again. Francisco, why sometimes for some ChatGPT requests a response or reports and presentations still deliver in 48 hours, 24 hours or delay? Francisco, it's a hallucination. I don't like that word. It's an error. Ignore it. Just say, no, I need it now, and it'll do it. It'll never get back to you in 24 to 48 hours. What ends up happening is the way you prompt it. It gives you the obvious answer. If you use O3, it won't do it. Please stop using 4.0 for anything. Please use O3 for everything. I know people get confused, but 4 is more than 3. At some point, OpenAI will do an apology tour for its naming conventions. But in this case, please use O3. It won't do it. And if it tells you it's going to deliver in 48 hours, it's basically mirroring a junior analyst. Hey, junior analyst, when will you do this? Oh, I'll get back to you in 48 hours. It's trying to be human. It's not actually doing anything. So ignore that. Just tell it to do it now. Will the recording be shared? Absolutely. I just shared the links and you can go and check it out. But also please look at the other ones. We've had some very good ones in the last 3 to 4 months. A lot of very good updates, particularly the MCPs. And those were very, very in-depth. And we're going to do more of them as they come out and very useful for you guys to start using it and really become power users on that as well. Let me go to other questions which we have, and some of you have sent them in our forum chats. For your course in NVI, Carolyn, can this be virtual? Carolyn, unfortunately, no. It is awesome to see everyone in person, and it needs to be in person. We've tried doing it online, and we do have the online programs, learn.vjal.ai. If you'd like, you can become a member. The web channel also that, learn.vjal.ai. And we'll have a new, completely revamped course online for those of your existing members. You'll get full access to it. It's already done. We're just trying to stitch in the last descriptions and names and everything else. So hopefully by Monday or Tuesday, many of you already have access to it. For those of who signed up to be team members and organization members, but the rest, everyone should get access to it with the next thing. But please come in person. We really deep dive. What we realized is the agentic stuff, it's not something that's easy to do unless it's highly structured. And it's 2 days. It'll be super fun. Harry, yes, hopefully. Let me know. You're always welcome. Agentic transformations on grid will be the trainer option. Larry, absolutely. For those of course who are tracking, we have our awesome trainers. Please go to our web, find them, or just email our team, and they will connect you to an awesome trainer who can come do this customized to you, to your company, in person, wherever you are in the world. We have them every country at this point, and also online coaching programs. We're going to try to do the full version of this August, September, and then we're going to roll it out to all our trainers. And one of the sad parts is I really wish we could have done this maybe 3 months ago, but I think the agentic stuff really just kicked in, and now we can do some amazing, amazing things. And so you're going to love seeing some of this. Jim, the recording is going to be fully available. We will cut out a few things, perhaps, to be a little bit more politically correct. So the live one always has this. And so we'll try to do highlights, but yes, you'll be able to get access to it. Yoni, just check the just check the full recording, and you'll have all the slides, and you can take a picture of those. Vera, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. The agent is available to all of us on ChatGPT Plus. You do not see that menu. Guillermo, if not there, it should be there very soon. And let me see if they again have changed where it sits. Yeah, so, let me show it to you. And again, I have a souped up account, so that doesn't help you. But where it should show up is in tools and agent mode. Right, and I have 399 left. Most people get about 20, 30 of these if you don't have the super pro account. I wonder if it's because of the tools now. It's just a matter of time. They're rolling it out to everybody. You should have it very soon, probably by the end of the week. And you can, stalk Sam Altman. He keeps announcing when everyone gets it more and more. And there. My contact information, drop me a message on LinkedIn. Very happy. You can also drop me an email if you'd like. Very happy to talk. Please let me know. I'm always available. Victor, signing up now, but see one advanced yet to the basic one. Does it make sense? Number 2-day one. Victor, it's all new. I would sign up for both. Honestly, we are still saying basic and advanced because I am doing a couple of them in the next couple of days. Thank you for joining me if you're joining me in the cities. But if you've taken this course before April 2025, everything is new. So I really recommend taking both days. You will not be able to take the advanced one if you've taken this course before April 2025. Perfect. Can you please elaborate on Vjal recommendations for AI not actually reasoning in non-human language? Isn't a reasoning bites, just need clarifying. Yeah, so the way it works, and let me just show this to you, right? And I'm just going to use one of our classic prompts, and let's just do a simple analysis. And I'm just going to take some financials from Etsy, copy paste them. There we go. And please don't do this the way I'm doing it. I'm doing it to trigger thinking processes. I'm going to do it carefully. Note, and I've just pasted all this. Note the model, thinking model. And the thinking part is what I'll take a little time. Here we go. This is what they mean by the reasoning. So the reasoning model self-prompt, so they sort of show you what they're doing. So based on this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And what's happened in the paper, if you read, they've caught the model lying. So it'll come up by saying, like, oh, the best way to do it to lie to the user. Ha 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 ha, I will lie to the user. And literally it says, I'm thinking about lying to the user, right? So, so that's why people like it, right? So by the time it gives you the answer, it's already kind of told you exactly what it's done more and more and more and more. And, you can sort of open out the thinking and watch the thinking. And so that's what they mean is that, hey, always have the thinking exposed because it shows you how the model is going forward. And it's one method, but yes, imagine you couldn't read the thinking or the way they're communicating with each other is in a language you don't understand. We'd have no clue what they're doing. I think that's when we start to lose control completely. What does it change in the ChatGPT functionality? Ricardo, the agent space. Oh, you know what? While we are here, let's just do this new chat, agentic mode. AI presentation and latest train the trainer online programs. Right. And basically what the agent will do, it will set up a computer, launch a computer, and use the computer to go to the websites. Let's just continue, and you'll see the agent work. And this is operator. We've done this a while. It used to be called this there, and here it goes. And it basically opens a computer. It's opening a new tab. And now it's sort of opening the website and going through all of this and creating the presentation and running this. And again, Manas did this, Jen Spark did this, Claude is also doing this, everybody's doing this. And that's what the agents are really is. Rima, the agentic course is going fully online as well. Version 1 is out with the bots and all. Most of you have access to it, even though it may not be obvious, but you do have access to it. You'll get an email sometime early next week with more explicit access to it. The in-person one, we actually use agents to teach agents. And that's unfortunately something we can only do in person at the moment. It's very involved. And so if you're in person, you'll be able to use the agent to learn about agents and build stuff using agents. It's very powerful. I did a next gen course for 4 days on it. Very useful feedback from our wonderful young people on this, and we've based a lot of changes based on what came up there, as well as a whole bunch of experiments we've done with some of our volunteer companies on the coaching side. And Justin, again, the agent mode is here in the tools, and you have to click agent is there. Yeah, now the agent Copilot, Microsoft or ChatGPT, both are not very good, to be fair. Both need a lot of work. I think they also know it. There are many open source agents. There are many other agents which are probably a lot better. You can obviously make your own agents, which we teach, and that's pretty easy to do as well. But I would wait. An agent is a marketing term. An agent is theoretically a repeatable prompt with access to some tools, and everyone's trying to brand it their way. We'll see. But this is just getting started. Most of these are maybe 2 to 3 months old, limited less by tech and more by, honestly, number of tokens. But we should see this completely change in the next 3 to 6 months. Oh yeah, thank you, Justin. Yeah, so you can put in just agent in the prompt, and it'll show up as agent mode. But again, it has to have in your tools aspect. Thank you for that. Perfect. Bruno, I will take a couple more questions, guys. There's still a lot to do. I was seeing AI's reliability in terms of visiting specific website, given as input, retrieve information, reliability. Bruno, so again, what's happening, right? Let's do the same thing in non-agent mode, right? Go to Vjal.ai and prepare a full brief on the online training and the trainer programs, right? Let's look at very simple. I'm going to use an O3. And what it's going to do, basically, it's going to use Bing search or a web search to do that. Now, if the website it's going allows search engines to come in and search properly, right? So it goes to searching for Vjal.ai. It's now going to sort of Bing, now found results, now briefed in the trainers. So you can't rely beyond the point that you can rely on a search engine accessing the website, right? So it's searching the web, it's going to Vjal.ai, it's going to other sites, it's opened a program description, modules. So the difference is the agent sees the page the way a user would see it, the way a human would see it. When you go to any page, and ethically you have to declare you're a search engine, which is what OpenAI and Google and everybody does. Not so much for some of the other guys, but okay, these guys have to. You will send them a bunch of SEO junk, and you won't maybe give them access to all the content if you're an NY Times or a publisher or a law society or something, right? And that's what the problem is that the search engines don't end up getting the same user interface as you do. And I think that's a big difference. Obviously, the agents can defeat old school CAPTCHAs, maybe even some of the new ones. So there's an element of that where the agents are used as well. As a deep research, the limitation number of accessing, reading PDFs online there is. So Grok's new deep search, briefly, it's gone offline again, can do PDFs a little bit better. There is a limitation right now. Google, I saw a couple of times open it out, but the quality wasn't that good. That's why I'm really recommending try Firecrawl's Open Researcher. Couple of others, you can code them up and connect them to deal with PDFs. Obviously, you have to pay for the privilege of conversions, either in tokens or in money or in CPU power. But if the use case mandates it, it can get really good really fast. Lilian, so I'm not sure what you're referring to. Is it agents? Is it systems? Bounced around a bit. But certainly for agents, I would not recommend really any one right now, depending on what you're trying to do. And agents, again, let's sort of use the term computer operators rather than agents, because agents is a very broad term, and you can build a lot of agents which don't have access. So computer operators, let's call them that. The really good, Manas is really investing time and effort. It's expensive, again, not as great as I'd like to do. So I would look at that. I would look at GenSpark. A lot of times we just build our own for very high specialized, because it's not that hard. Again, it's just screenshot followed by a mouse movement. So try a couple of them. Again, you will see one thing that will work on Manas, will not work on GenSpark, will not work on Perplexity, but will work on others. So it's still a little bit dependent on prompt and what the use case is. But again, most of the issues that are being faced, it's fairly obvious. It's just a token expenditure issue. If you're willing to pay enough money, you should be able to, move past any issue there. For analysis side on ChatGPT, would you suggest 4.0 that agent more O3 concept? I would always use O3. I would never use 4.0. The only time you might use 4.0 is for some writing work if you'd like. Please never use 4.0. Always use O3 for anything and everything, including agentic mode, including deep search, including everything. Similarly for Gemini, again, please use the 2.5 Pro reasoning. It's the top model. If you're using Claude, please use the full think version of Claude, including the Opus with the full thinking, extended thinking fully there. Everything else at this point is fairly useless. You've paid for it, please use it. Obviously, in the APIs, it gets a little bit expensive, but seriously, the quality difference is huge. The only reason you would not use a reasoning model is if you're trying to write. It can overthink emails. Do all the work, the reasoning, everything in the reasoning model, transfer that to a writing model like 4.0 or 4.5 or Flash, and that gets a lot better. Perfect, guys. I've been told I am on off my time. I usually try to end at 1 hour, but thank you for all those amazing questions. I really hope to see many of you in person in Dubai and New York. It's going to be absolutely, absolutely fun. And again, if you've been to one of the classes before, this is going to be completely new. And so I'm super excited to see what you guys do in class with making your own agents and connecting everything up in a completely different way. Please continue to FAFO, fool around and figure out. That's the best way to learn AI. And connect with me on LinkedIn, drop us questions. Always happy to hear from you. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and I will see you at the next AI update.